Tonight, don't just listen. Imagine you were there. 4 friends enter an abandoned manor, and only 3 walk out. This is the story of the Levitsky House and what was waiting inside. The Abandoned House, Part 1. The Legend of the Lord and the Arrival. They say every town has a place no one dares to enter after sunset. For our town, that place was the Levitsky Manor, built in the 18th century, a massive house with a dark roof and windows that looked like frozen eyes. We'd all known about it since school. Some said a ghost was seen there, others that lights flickered in the windows at night. But every story began with the same name, Lord Levitsky. There were countless legends about him. Some claimed he never died, only disappeared, becoming a vampire who fed on the souls of those who entered his home. Others insisted he had died but returned, seeking his wife, the one he had killed in a jealous rage. There were those who said he had sold his soul to the devil, trading it for power and eternal life. And one version told that his wife came from a famous lineage of witches, and she was the one who led him into dark rituals. It was said that at night, they summoned spirits and offered sacrifices, not people, but what people valued most: memory, love, peace. No one who entered the manor after sunset ever came out the same. Years passed. The manor stood empty, swallowed by weeds as if asleep. And that evening, 4 childhood friends decided to test their courage, to see if the stories were true. I'm Nicholas, the narrator of this tale. My friends, Alexander, Max, and Natalia. We'd known each other since we were kids, catching butterflies and hiding in old orchards. Adulthood scattered us across different cities, but that summer fate brought us together again. We had an old tradition. Once a year, we'd reunite and do something crazy. That year, our crazy idea was the Levitsky Manor. Alexander, the most rational of us, always laughed at ghost stories. Natalia, his girlfriend, though once, long ago, she and Max had shared something more than friendship. Max never found anyone else after they parted. Maybe that's why something unspoken still flickered between them, something you could feel even in the dark. And I was the observer, the one who watches, listens, and remembers. We set off near nightfall. The road cut through a strip of forest where even the moon looked foreign. Alexander drove, headlights carving a narrow tunnel through the darkness. Max held an old map, tracing the route. The manor was marked on a hill near the old cemetery. Natalia sat beside me, silent. "Maybe we should just go back," she suddenly said. "I don't even know why we're going there." "Don't be scared," Alexander smiled. "It's just a house, stone and dust." "Stone remembers too," she whispered. When we finally arrived, the headlights revealed the silhouette of the manor. It was enormous, 2 stories tall, with a turret, columns, a balcony, and high windows reflecting the moon like cold mirrors. It looked abandoned, yet too well kept to be dead. No broken glass, no rot, just darkness behind the curtains. "That's it, right?" Max asked. "That's it," I said. "Levitsky's Manor." We stepped out of the car. The silence snapped. The forest behind us went still. Even the crickets stopped singing. And then Natalia whispered, "Did you see that?" "See what?" Alexander asked quickly. "In the window, something flashed, like light. Probably just moonlight on the glass," Max said, but his voice wasn't convincing. As we approached the house, he added quietly, "I can't shake the feeling. Someone's watching us from inside." The front doors were heavy, carved with twisting vines. Alexander pushed the handle, and to our surprise, they opened without a sound. Inside was strangely clean. Not like a home that's lived in, but one that's kept alive, maintained so it wouldn't seem dead. The first thing that struck us was the towering ceiling and a grand staircase of red wood leading upward. The floor beneath us was polished like glass. Portraits lined the walls, a man in a waistcoat, a woman with deep eyes that looked uncannily like Natalia's. They felt alive, watching. We wandered the halls, joking, taking pictures. Natalia even laughed, her voice echoing softly. But after a while, that laughter started to sound wrong, as if the echoes didn't come back. The house was large, yet strangely warm. It felt like it was welcoming us, a gentle, polite host, old, patient, waiting. None of us knew the host was still there. Inside the manor, it was unexpectedly warm, almost cozy. The air smelled of old candles, dust, and something dry and wooden, like the scent of ancient books. We wandered through the rooms, lighting our way with our phones, and the farther we went, the less it felt abandoned. Some rooms had furniture covered with white sheets. Others looked as if someone had just tidied them. Tables polished, fireplaces that seemed to have held fire not long ago. Max knelt beside one of the fireplaces and brushed the ashes with his fingers. "Look at this," he said. "It's warm." "Probably just heat from the chimney," Alexander muttered, though his voice betrayed unease. While we explored, Natalia stopped before a portrait. It was a woman in a black dress, holding a glass of red wine with long, delicate fingers. "Oh my God, she looks like who?" I asked. "Like me." And she did. Her face, her eyes, even the fall of her hair mirrored Natalia's. Max stared at the painting for a long time, then turned away, as if embarrassed by his own thoughts. We climbed the stairs. They creaked softly beneath our feet, and somewhere deep in the house there was a faint hum, like distant vibration, almost mechanical. The second floor was even stranger. Several doors, a faded carpet down the hall, and a tall mirror on the wall. As we walked past it, for a heartbeat, I could have sworn there were 5 of us reflected there. Not 4, but it must have been a trick of the light. About half an hour passed. We'd already explored several rooms, laughed, even filmed a short "For the Memories" video. Then, slowly, something changed. At first, I noticed how quiet the house had become. Not just silent, but listening. The silence grew dense, heavy, like fabric draped over our voices. "I don't like it here," Natalia said. "Oh, come on," Alexander sighed. "You wanted to come." "I did," she said softly. "But now, I don't know. It feels like someone's walking right next to us." "You're just scaring yourself. Old house. Wood creaks." She didn't answer. She just reached for Max's hand, unconsciously, and he didn't let go. After a few more minutes, we began to realize we couldn't find the way out. The staircase we'd climbed was gone. We walked through long hallways, but instead of the entrance door, there were only more rooms, more doors, more corridors. Alexander tried to laugh it off. "Well, that explains why he sold his soul. The house goes on forever." But his voice trembled. Then Max said he heard footsteps. We froze. And yes, beneath us, somewhere below, slow, heavy steps echoed on the wooden floor. Like boots from another century, they moved toward us, then away again. "Probably just the wind," I whispered, though I didn't believe it myself. "The wind that walks?" Max murmured with a cold smile. We ran downstairs. The corridor felt longer than before. Where the staircase should have been, there was only a wall, and on it, Symbols, black, elongated, curved like snakes. Natalia covered her face. "Oh God, I want to leave." We tried every door we could find. Behind each was the same thing: an empty room, dust, a mirror, an old carpet. No windows low enough to escape through. Then, laughter. A child's laughter. Faint, distant. It came from somewhere below and stopped whenever we did. "Someone's here," Natalia whispered. "Someone lives here." Alexander pulled her forward. "Enough. We're finding the exit. This is ridiculous." We followed him until we reached a large hall. In the center stood an old piano, covered with a cloth, and then the cloth began to slide off by itself. The keys played a few soft notes, hesitant, uncertain, like a child's hand learning to play. Natalie screamed. Max grabbed her shoulders to steady her. Then another sound, a door slamming somewhere deep inside the house. "There!" Alexander shouted. "Maybe others came in." We ran toward it. At the end of the hallway, a door stood ajar. Beyond it, a narrow corridor. No people, just cobwebs, so thick and old the light could barely pass through. We stood still. In that silence, I could hear only our hearts and Natalia's quiet sobbing. "This house doesn't want to let us go." We moved again, blindly, searching for any way out, when suddenly, footsteps again, this time much closer, as if someone was walking just a few meters away, mirroring our pace. We turned, and in the beam of the flashlight, a figure passed, tall, dark, woven from mist. It glided past the open doorway and vanished into another room. We stood frozen. Max was the first to speak. "If that's a person," he said quietly, "then they know the way out." And gathering his courage, he stepped forward. The corridor led us to a large hall, and, to our disbelief, the exit. The front doors stood open. Cold night air brushed our faces. We were free. But then Alexander turned, pale as chalk. "Wait, where's Natalia?" We spun around. She was gone. Only Max remained, staring into the darkness. "She was right here, just a second ago," he whispered. Silence became alive again, and somewhere deep in the manor, we heard breathing, slow, heavy, human. Max took a step toward it. "I'm going after her," he said firmly. "She's still inside." "You've lost your mind," Alexander shouted. "We'll call the cops. Just wait outside." But Max was already gone, swallowed by the dark. Alexander and I stumbled out into the cold, and the moment we crossed the threshold, the phone signal returned. We called the police. Behind us, in the shadows of the manor, the house breathed again. What happened next, I know only from what Max told us later. His voice was calm when he spoke, but his eyes looked through me, as if they still saw that same endless, dark corridor. When Alexander and I ran out of the manor, Max had been standing in the doorway, frozen. Then, after a deep breath, he turned and went back inside. "I couldn't leave her," he told us later. "She's not just a girl from the past. She's the only real thing I have left." Inside, the manor had changed. The air thickened like honey, and the light from his phone no longer pierced the darkness. It trembled inside it, as if drowning. The walls, once warm, now pulsed faintly with a cold rhythm. Yes, a pulse. as if the house itself was alive. Every step echoed unnaturally loud, and then Max heard it, weeping, soft, desperate, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Natalia!" he shouted. Only an echo answered him, but when he turned a corner, he saw a door slightly open. He rushed in. Natalia lay on the floor unconscious, and above her, a figure, a shadow woven from smoke and resin. It had no face, but Max could see movement. Something was being drawn out of her, her breath, her life. He lunged forward, and in that instant, everything stopped. His legs wouldn't move. His arms turned heavy as stone. The air around him became solid. He fell to the floor, eyes locked on Natalia. Her eyelids fluttered. For a moment she looked at him, tired, pained, yet with the same tenderness she used to have when laughing during school breaks. "Natalia, I want you to know I've always loved you." A tear rolled down her cheek. The darkness above her paused, as if those words had made it remember what it once meant to be human. The shadow straightened slowly. Its form rippled, and for a heartbeat, in the smoky blur, a man's face appeared, pale. Dark eyes, an old-fashioned coat, Lord Levitsky. His lips moved faintly, as if whispering to himself, and in his gaze there was no malice, only sorrow. He looked down at Natalia, then at Max, and in that instant he vanished. The darkness dissolved like smoke, and with it, the suffocating weight in the air. The doors burst open. Policemen stormed in, flashlights cutting through the dim. Their shouting sounded too loud, almost wrong after all that silence. They carried Natalia out. She was breathing, weakly, but breathing. Max lay nearby, unconscious. When he came to, he couldn't speak. He just stared at the ceiling and kept whispering. He let her go. The police never found an explanation. No sign of forced entry. No trace of Lord Levitsky. Just an ancient manor that, according to locals, hadn't opened its doors for 50 years. But there was one detail. One of the officers later said that when he lifted Natalia from the floor, he saw 2 handprints beneath her. Large, male hands pressed deep into the dust, as if someone had knelt there, and when the flashlight passed over them, they shimmered like fresh moisture and disappeared. Months passed. Natalia and Max recovered. They never spoke of that night again, but from then on they were together. Whenever someone mentioned the manor, they would simply look at each other and say nothing. They say love holds something even death fears. Maybe that's what stopped Lord Levitsky that night. Yet sometimes, those who walk past the ruins of the old manor swear they see 2 figures in a dark window, a man and a woman, standing side by side. And if the wind is quiet enough, you might just hear a soft whisper, "We're home."